So let's begin with our session of the day. We are going to continue with these elements that we have left yesterday. We did not discuss about this too, and we tried data list, but it did not work for us. So I found the mistake uh, that I did, and let's discuss about this too, and let's move on to the input types. So let me open the example file that we have used yesterday. So is this visible to everyone? Let me maximize it. Is this visible to every one of you? So as you can observe that I said select and data list work similar to each other, but the only difference between select and data list is using select you can just select the field, or you can just select the name of the item or name of the country or anything that is given in the drop down list. But using data list you can type your input and you can select based on your input. I think I'm clear with the definition of data list. So let me show how data list works. So yesterday we did not able to see this. So that happened because we did not include this part. We did not given the input type. Like in input we have different types of attributes. Let's discuss about those in today's session. But for now, remember this list. List is one of the attributes of input. So I have given an ID. ID is generally used to give the name for your element. So I have given ID equals to browser for this tag data list. So I am connecting this to, that is, the input list and ID are connected to each other. You must give the ID name and list names which are same. So once you are done with this, save your code, and you can see the output here. So here you can I think you are able to see this drop down icon. So you can even click on that and select, or you can even type here. Can you able to see this? You can able to type, like you can enter some letter based on the input you have given. Your drop down list changes accordingly. So this is the difference between the select and data list. And and yesterday I left output tag as well. So output tag works something similar to validations in your JavaScript. So here parseInt is a function that takes input type integer. So using this parseInt, we are going to perform some sort of addition. Here, as we have used plus symbol, we are going to perform some addition in between these two variables. Here I have taken two inputs. So remember these terms: type equals to number, and type equals to range, and type equals to number. Let's discuss about this. But for now, remember these terms. I have just given type equals to range, and for another variable, I have given type equals to number. So I have given them some unique ID, that is A, and I have given them name as A. Using this, I'm able to pass these values into this parseInt function, and this value is a keyword that takes the input of these variables. So I have used output tag and given its name as x. So for A, B, it's nothing but when we touch on the output field, it's going to display, or it's focus on this A and B attributes, like A and B elements. So let me save this and see. On input is one of the attributes of form tag. So form tag has different kinds of attributes like action, method, target, and few other things. And one such attribute is on input. This means when you give some input, you if you want to produce some output, you are going to use this on input function. On giving some input, you are producing some output. This is what this entire code means. So let me show how this looks. Let me minimize the screen. Are you people able to see? So as a given input type equals to range, here we are appeared with something that is able to move, and that contains of range 0 to 10. And here we have given input type equals to number. So you can you can enter any type of number. It's going to add your add your number with this range. So this is how a range and number types works, and how an output tag works. This is how this output tag works, and on input attribute works. Hope this is clear to everyone. If you are clear with this, we'll move on to the next topic. So I think you people don't have any doubts. So let me share my screen and let me teach you some types of input elements. So these are, I think these are, I have covered most of the input elements. If I missed any of these, or any of those input types are missed, please browse in the Google and you'll find a lot other types of input elements. So our first most input type is text. As the name suggests, it creates some text box where you can type your characters like alphabets, numbers, all kinds of symbols. It accepts everything. And yes, the as the next one is password. As most of you know that while entering our passwords while signing up or signing in, we are displayed with some dot type of structure, and it's not visible to the user who is entering it. So in order to make that happen, we are going to use input type equals to password and checkbox. I think while submitting any kinds of forms online, you are supposed to make a checkbox, checkbox, tick in the checkbox like I agree to continue, i'm I'm not sure, like that. They will be given some types of text with some check boxes, and you can select any of those check boxes and make them checked. So this is how a checkbox works. And radio is generally used to select the gender. Usually you see radio type of buttons in the forms where gender is to be selected. So, and next button, we have discussed about button tag yesterday, but rather using button tag, we are also having input type as button. So you can either give button tag directly, or you can give input type equals to button. Both works similarly. So next, submit. So if you give your input type equals to submit, then it's going to submit your entire details to the page where you are going to store the values of your form. So these are the few types of input elements. Next, next we have reset type. So submit and reset are the few things that most commonly used in most of the forms. So submit is required for submitting the form as well. If we want to resubmit the form, or if we want to reload the form, or if you do any mistake and if you want to refresh the page, you can directly reset the page. For those situations, reset type is used. And if you take input type equals to image, you can take image as your input, and then file. Generally you might see that most of the forms have an option like upload your file here or submit your files here. So in order to make that happen, you are supposed to use the input type as file. And hidden, if you like to hide something from up for something from appearing to the user, you can use hidden type. Then comes email. Usually email ends with @gmail.com and a dot ac dot in. Mostly these are the things that email contains, email extension contains. So if your if the user does not input um, the email in that format, the form is not going to be submitted. So you are supposed to use this email type when the user has to give the input as email. This is where email works. And next comes number. If you want to get some input which should be a numerical type, we should contains only the numbers that are from 1 to so on, then you can use this type. Generally it is used to take input as phone numbers, pin codes. Generally this is where number type is used. Next comes range. As we discussed now, range is what a slider. And search, if you would like to search something, you can use such type. And as the name suggests, url is used to take urls from the user. And color, if you'd like to submit some type of color, you can use color. It will display some color picker to you. You can select which whatever color you want. And then we have three more important things like date, month, week. Date is usually used to select your date of birth or date of joining. In these cases, date attribute, date type of input is very much used. And similar to date, month and week also are used. This month is generally used to select month, and week is generally used to select a week. So I think we are done with types of input elements. So are these clear? Do you have any doubts? If you are clear with this, let's execute each of these input types and check how it appears in the web pages. So let me open the notepad that we are using yesterday. So let's we have, I think we have already used the input type text. So I'm not going to use this again. So let's check this password. So we have given here. So let's try it. Instead of giving username, let's give it as email. As we are already know what text is, I'm not going to discuss about it again. So let me change it to email. So I'm making the input type equals to email. So I'm removing this. And later we have taken password as our input field. So for password, we are going to use password, type as a password. So let me save this and let me show how this works. So let me refresh the page. Can you able to see? So let's make this. So let me give something. Can you able to see that? Can you able to see a pop-up appeared like please include an at the rate in the email address? Can you able to see that? This is how you'll get some kind of pop-up messages if you input something that is not valid. So using this kind, you can be able to make some validations. So it will not accept if you don't, the form won't be submitted if the email input does not have an email that contains at the rate. If I use this email at the rate gmail.com, it's not going to appear again. So password, can you able to see, as I have given it as type equals to password, I'm unable to see the content I have typed now. So if you would like to do see the content, you can click on this eye symbol, or you can enable and disable using this eye icon. So our email and password input types clear to everyone. So if this is clear, let's move on to the next one, checkbox. So let's execute checkbox and radio together. So okay, let me take checkbox here. Like, okay. Let me add input input type equals to checkbox. And what I'm going to give is I agree. I don't agree. Let me try this. I'm going to refresh the page over here. Can you see? You have you are displayed with something like this. Checkboxes is used to select multiple options. So in order to make this look more attractive, let me add this to next line. So let me refresh this page. So you can select this and you can be able to submit the form. This is how a checkbox works. And later on, let's take input type radio. As I said, radio is most commonly used to take input for gender. So let me give the label as gender. So I'm going to give male. female, and add some space in between this I'm going to add at the rate nbsp. It's going to add some space in between this two radio buttons. So can you able to see now? You are able to select this too, but in order to restrict that, you are supposed to make some changes. Let's discuss about those changes later. For now, let's understand how they work. So I think checkboxes and radio buttons are understandable for everyone. Are you people working along with me? Do you have any doubts? Stop me in between. No issues. So, checkbox and radio buttons are done. So, yes, see, I have even used type equals to submit over here, and let me use type input type equals to reset. Since we did not add any kind of action to our form, we did not, if you people observe that our form is not submitting our details anywhere because we did not add any action to our form. So even though we click on submit, our form is not submitting anything. So let me give action attribute to our form, like action equals to let me check the files over here. See, let me give this advanced table, or wait, let me create one HTML file over here. Let me create something like this success page submitted successfully. um, Let me create this and see how this works. Let me name it as success.html. So it's done. Let me open our form that we are using from the beginning of the session. This is the form. Yeah, let me give action equals to success.html. So let me check that everything is clear over here. So here, let me remove this part. So I'm going to remove this button as well. So now we have two kinds of input types, like submit and reset. So let's check how this works. So in order to check those two things, we have added an attribute action to our form, and that action is nothing but when you submit something, where should your form go to. So once our form submits, our it should redirect to success.html page. This is what this means. So let me check this. So can you see that submit and reset buttons are appeared over here? So let me write something. Let me write something or every in every field. So So if I click on submit, it redirected to submitted successfully. So it is redirected to success.html page. This is how action attribute of a form works, and submit type works. So now everything is checked, or everything is given some input except this password. So password is something that must be hidden. So once your form submits, it will not appear again. So now let's check how reset works. If you click on this reset button, it will reset your entire page. See, can you able to see the difference? Everything that um, has an input, change it to the initial stage. This is how and submit type and reset type works. So what else we are left with? So now we are done with reset. Let's try image. I too did not try this ever, so let's try this together. So let me give somewhere over. Let me give here after our email. Let me take input type. Input type equals to image, and let me close this, and I'm going to give some label to it. Photo. Let me name it as photo. Let's save this page. Let's refresh this and check. So I think it has no such value, or it's not much used during create or for creating forms. From where this submit appearing from? Oof, oof, oof. Here it is not closed, so it's giving some. So I'm not sure why this is not working. Do anyone of you know? I'm unable to get output for this thing. So let's make this comment and let's check this later. Let's not waste our time. So let's move on. Let's move on to file. Type equals to file. So let me add over here. Add your resume. This is what the label, and let me give input type equals to file. So I have saved the file. Let me refresh this page. Can you able to see? Here you can choose your files. You can add that file or here, and you can submit that file. You can even add multiple files. Let's try whether this is possible. No, it's not working to take multiple inputs. But if we give a multiple attribute in this field, then you will be able to take multiple files at a time. So let's check whether it works or not. So let me choose another file. No, it's not working. Maybe something might have missed. So I think type equals to file is clear to you. And what's the next thing? Hidden. Hidden is nothing but it's going to hide our text field. I think so. I never use this hide or image most commonly, but I'm teaching you. Please bear with this. I'm not getting outputs for those. I'll check and I'll let you know what the mistakes I am doing now. So let's move on to hidden. Let me take something like let me give label equals to college, input type equals to hidden. Let me check how this works. I'm not sure how this works or whether it will really works or not. Okay. See, you're unable to give any kind of text or here, or you're not able to see anything beside this college. Let me give value as value equals to GVPCEW. Um, Value is one of the attributes of this input element where value is used to give some input to your field. So I have given value equals to GVPCEW. Um, it it should appear in the input field if I give the input type as text. So you're going to see the difference. So can you see? You are able to see the value. Value is nothing but the value that you want to see in your input field. So I have given value equals to GVPCEW. If the input type is text, you are able to see GVPCEW beside your college. But if I give type equals to hidden, you will not be able to see um, you will not be able to see the value. This is generally used to hide some kind of information, but you are willing to add the content to your file, but you are not willing to display to the user. Hidden type is going to help you. So next, email is done. So let's check number. I think number is also done. So let's move on to the next one. Range. Range is also done. Now let's check search. So let me add label. I'm going to give Google. Let me refresh the page. Oh, okay. If you would like to search something from the directories or the folders you want, you can use this search type of field. Let's try this with our directories present in our desktop. Let me copy this and check whether it works or not. Something like this. If you are willing to search some kind of documents in the folders that are present, you can use this input type search. So there is nothing much to discuss about search. Then we are left with five more input elements. Let's try all these three together: URL, color, date, month, week. Label URL, input type is URL, and let's save this. Later, let's add date of birth. Let's give it as DOB. Input type equals to date. Next, month. Input type equals to month. Then input type equals to week. So let's save this and check. We missed color type. So let me give. Pick your favorite color. So let me give input type equals to color. Let's save this. I'm going to refresh this page. Uh-oh. Let me add breaks over everything. It's looking something messy. So let's add break tag to the end of every element we have used. Let me Can you able to see this is going to accept only the URLs. Other than URLs, it's not going to accept any type of input. So can you able to see this? You can even type your date or you can pick the date. And here it takes month and year. This month. It's used to mark your months and week. See which week, which day, which year. This can be selected using this week type. So on clicking this, you will be displayed with some color picker. You can select any of the color you want. So these are the things that are available for form element. So discussed I have discussed about different types of input elements. So do you people have any doubts regarding this? If not, let's move on to input attributes. So we have different types of input attributes. I'm not going to discuss everything or that are in the slide. I'm going to discuss only few of them which are most commonly used. You people try the rest of the attributes. So let's try with, we are already done with the attribute value and you have already seen how that works. So I'm not going to discuss about it again. So let's check max length. So in order to check max length, I'm going to take something like phone number, mobile number as my one of the label, and for this I'm going to use input type equals to number. Let me save this. So let me refresh this. Yeah, your mobile number is appearing here and it accepts as many as digits, but it should not accept like that. It should just accept 10 digits. So to make that restriction, we can use the max length attribute and give it as 10. If you try to give input more than 10, it's not going to accept that. So I'll show you. Wait. Yes. Hmm. A max length equals to 10. I did it right. Okay. Number is generally used to accept number types. So you can see how it is working. So it's going to accept how many numbers as we are required. So we cannot use type as number for your mobile number. So let me check it once. I'm missing something. Okay, I have used text. Okay. Max length is generally used to indicate the number of characters that the output field should accept. Here, number has different purpose, but whatever we thought is different and how it works is different. So, number is generally used to take the input numbers, but it's not used to take input for our mobile number. So let me change it to text. Input type equals to text and let me give the max length as 10. So let me refresh this page and let me try giving the numbers. So can you able to see? I'm trying to type, but it's not accepting more than 10 digits. So this is how a max length attribute works. If you keep restrictions to your input, like the number of the number of characters should be of length 20 only, 50 only, then you can make use of this max length attribute. So next, min max. This min max is generally used while selecting dates, like the minimum date should be like, let's try this, max 10 hyphen 12 hyphen 2023 max. Control is this. So maximum date range will be 10/11/2023. So other than this date, you are not going to have, other than this, the calendar will not be appear. Similarly, min equals to some date. The minimum range from which the calendar starts is 10/12/2023. This is what min and max attributes are. So next, placeholder. Placeholder, required, and autocomplete. Let's see these three. And list is already used while we are discussing about data list. So let's discuss about placeholder, required, and autocomplete. Pattern and autofocus are not commonly used, so let's not bother about those. So see, even though all these fields are empty, I can submit this form and I can see this submitted successfully page. To restrict this, and we did not fill any of these details, and if the details are not given, then the form should not submit. So in order to make that restriction, you are supposed to give required attribute in your input element. I'm going to give this in every of the input type I have used. So let me give few of them. So let me save this. Let's refresh this page. See, if I try submitting this, it will show you an something like pop-up message, like to indicate that this field must required, and you are supposed to fill this field. It displays some type of pop-up message over here. If you keep this, if you use required for every of your input types that you have used in your form, then even when you give the inputs, if you give all of these inputs, then only you will be able to submit. I have given required to this email and password. So let me check this. So if I try submitting this, it will indicate us that this field is empty. You must enter some content in this field. So let me enter something. So next, if I try submitting this, you will get the next field. That is, you must select this field. So this is how required field works. So let's see how a placeholder works. Let's check this placeholder and autocomplete at once. So let me add this attribute over here, placeholder equals to example example at the rate .com. So let me refresh the page. You will be able to see some text uh, in your input field. Once you type the input, then it's going to disappear. This is what a placeholder is. And let me give autocomplete attribute as well. Let me give it over here. Generally, this autocomplete must given something like autocomplete equals to on or autocomplete equals to off. Then only it will work. Uh, it's not working now, but the main purpose of autocomplete is if you submit some kind of forms earlier, it's going to use that data and it's going to fill this kind of forms when you are going to submit. So this is how autocomplete works. So today I have discussed about different types of input elements and different input attributes. uh, Try these examples. I have shown you these examples yesterday also, so try these examples, and if you have any doubts, please ask me. And if you don't have any doubts, let's wind up here. Okay, I think you people don't have any doubts. Let's end our session for day. So please try this activities and let me know if you have any problem in doing this. So good night, people. Bye.